My sister helped my parents destroy my face with illegal skin whitening cream. That was the day I cut them off for good. Not metaphorically, not dramatically. I blocked their numbers, moved out, and disappeared. 2 years later, my sister came crawling back, face gaunt, voice shaking, terrified and begging for help. But by then I had learned the truth. You see, my family isn't just dysfunctional, they are the most deeply, unapologetically racist people I've ever known. And I'm not talking about strangers throwing slurs, I'm talking about your own mother counting the number of seconds you spend outside in the sun, and matching each second with a slap. Literal slaps. And you learned fast, stay in the shade, or face the sting. For years, our morning started with a Dollar Tree bottle of bleach cream, cold, sticky. It smelled like cheap soap and lies. The whiter we looked, the more love we got. That was the currency of our household, paleness. I remember being a kid and just wanting to run around like the other kids. But my sister? She became a queen in their twisted kingdom. She set alarms every 2 hours on purpose to break her sleep so she'd look exhausted, drained, and pale. Our parents thought she was beautiful. They praised her sunken cheeks. They bought her gowns, jewelry, everything. And me? I scrubbed floors, I earned straight A's, I gave them foot massages. But it was never enough. You should work that hard on getting lighter, they'd say, smiling. Then, on my 16th birthday, they handed me bleach, actual hair bleach shipped from Africa, wrapped like a gift. I locked myself in my room and cried into a bookstore teddy bear until I couldn't breathe. My sister walked in, she sat beside me. For a second, I thought she was going to say something like, "You're still my sister, no matter your skin." But instead she whispered, "Lily, I love you. I want to help you. Look at me." I did. I saw a hollow girl-burned scalp, cracked skin, purple eye bags like bruises under her eyes. "If I can look this beautiful," she said with a smile, "so can you." And I didn't say a word. She said, "If I can look this beautiful, so can you," as if her pale skin and burned scalp were trophies. I thought she'd comfort me. Instead, she handed me the family's sickness with a smile. 6 years after that quiet betrayal in my bedroom, I had finally found my footing. I'd just graduated from the University of Florida. I ran every morning. I let the sun kiss my skin without shame. My curls were back, my face was bare, and for the first time in my life, I felt beautiful in a way that had nothing to do with whiteness. Carlos, my boyfriend, felt the same. He was half Puerto Rican, half Italian, and fully supportive. I thought maybe, just maybe, my parents could accept us. So I wore a lighter foundation, just to soften the blow. I even tied my hair back to look more presentable. But as soon as the front door opened, I knew it was a mistake. Emma, my sister, was a ghost of herself. Thinner than ever, bone-white, and hollow-eyed. When she saw Carlos, she screamed, "Dio mio, what are you doing to our bloodline?" My mother ran her fingers through my hair like she was trying to erase me, then caught sight of Carlos and laughed. "A monkey? This? You're young. It's just a phase." Her smile was cruel. Then came the moment I'll never forget. My dad yanked me inside and handed Emma a new bottle of bleach cream. Not the old kind, the new kind that burned on contact. I screamed and pushed her away, but it was too late. My face blistered instantly. Carlos called 911 while my dad wrestled him for the phone. "Pain is beauty," my father roared. "Lily will be beautiful again." By the time I reached the hospital, my eyebrows were gone, my skin was peeling, and I knew this wasn't just trauma. It was attempted erasure. And it had to stop. The morning after my skin graft surgery, Carlos kissed my hand softly, telling me I was beautiful and strong, but then I checked my phone. Dozens of angry texts, voicemails, and missed calls flooded my screen. My sister Emma begged me to drop the charges, pleading for me to come home and fix this. Her voice sounded hollow, like she'd given up long ago. Carlos held my hand and said, "Lily, this isn't normal. What they did was abuse. It's always been abuse." Hearing that out loud made something inside me click. I'd spent years trying to earn a love that was never unconditional, blaming myself for their cruelty. Later, a hospital social worker helped me tell the full truth for the first time. Even still in the hospital, I decided to press charges. My hands shook as I signed the report. Officer Ramirez, a kind, sad-eyed man, told me I was doing the right thing. Carlos stayed by my side the whole time, bringing me food and support. Nurses called him my husband, and it felt like a glimpse of the family I deserved. My parents flooded me with threats and pleas. My mom begged me to come home while my dad lectured about loyalty and heritage, ironically while trying to bleach me. Emma's texts scared me most. "They'll take me away if you do this. I don't know how to live without them." After 3 days, I was discharged with bandages still wrapped tightly. Carlos's tiny apartment became my refuge. That first night, I broke down completely, ugly crying as Carlos held me. At 3 a.m., I admitted part of me still wanted their love. It was a broken hope. The next day, Officer Ramirez and a new officer came by. My parents claimed I'd had an allergic reaction to normal beauty products. I didn't have photos or proof, but Carlos pointed to the hospital's chemical report, proving the product was illegal and toxic. They issued a restraining order forbidding my parents from contacting me. My phone kept ringing with more lies and accusations, but I wasn't alone anymore. I reached out to neighbors and counselors who remembered signs of abuse. A college friend sent me photos of my burns. I'd begged her to delete years ago, now crucial evidence. Carlos became my rock, driving me to appointments and caring for me. Weeks later, the DA called. Emma had sided with our parents, accusing me of jealousy and lying. It crushed me, but Carlos reminded me she was scared, trapped by them. I called Emma. She was fragile and afraid but refused help. Still, she gave me a USB with records proving our parents' years of illegal bleach imports. That night, hope burned bright. We were ready to fight. We were no longer victims. We were warriors. The new officer, a woman named Officer Chen, sat across from me, her eyes steady and calm, but full of the kind of determination that made me realize this was serious. She began asking questions that felt like they cut through the noise of everything I'd been holding inside. Do you have any evidence of the abuse before this? Pictures of the slap marks? Any reports filed? The packaging of the skin whitening products they used? I wanted to answer yes. I wanted to say, I have proof. But the truth was, I had nothing. Who takes pictures of their own pain when they're a kid? Who keeps the empty bottles of the poison they're forced to rub on their skin? I felt the panic rise. What if they didn't believe me? What if my parents got away with everything, like they had so many times before? Before I could spiral, Carlos squeezed my hand and spoke up, his voice firm but gentle. The hospital has the chemical analysis of her face. That report proves it wasn't just some normal beauty product. Officer Chen nodded, making notes quickly. We'll get that report. Meanwhile, we've issued a temporary restraining order. Your parents can't contact you or come near you. After they left, I checked my phone again. It was a nightmare. 17 missed calls from my mom, 12 from my dad, and 23 from Emma, plus dozens of texts. The latest message from Emma crushed me. They're saying you're mentally unstable, that you've always made up stories for attention. They have pictures of you smiling at family events to prove it. I showed Carlos. He shook his head slowly. They're going to twist everything, make you look like the crazy one. Determined not to give up, Carlos suggested I reach out to anyone who might have noticed the abuse over the years. My mind went straight to Mrs. Patel, my old neighbor who had secretly let me hide in her apartment when things got unbearable. Then there was Mr. Thompson, my high school counselor, who once saw bruises under my makeup but never pushed me to talk. Over the next few days, I made calls while trying to heal my body and mind. Most people remembered odd things about my family, but had no concrete proof. Mrs. Patel had moved to Arizona, and Mr. Thompson's memory was vague, with no records. Just when I was losing hope, a text came from an unknown number. Jasmine, a friend from college. Carlos had given her my number. She had pictures from freshman year, photos showing chemical burns on my neck when my makeup wore off. I'd begged her to delete those pictures years ago, mortified, but she had kept them. I called her immediately, and she promised to send them. Meanwhile, Carlos was being a total rock star. He rearranged his work schedule to drive me to doctor appointments, cooked actual meals instead of the ramen I'd been surviving on, and never complained about how our tiny apartment had become a storage unit for my things. One night I caught him researching skincare for chemical burn recovery while I pretended to sleep. About a week after I filed the report, I got a call from Danielle, a victim advocate from the district attorney's office. She told me they were seriously considering pressing charges against my parents, but needed more information. We have the hospital records and the chemical analysis, she explained. The substance on your face contained hydroquinone, at levels far exceeding legal limits, plus mercury compounds banned in cosmetics in the US. This isn't surprising. Your parents always sought the strongest, most dangerous products they believed worked better. Her voice was steady, but I felt my heart stop when she added, "We also have a statement from your sister." I froze. Emma. The line went silent for a moment. "She's supporting their version of events," Danielle said quietly. "She says you've always been jealous of her relationship with your parents and that you're making up the abuse for attention." I hung up and threw my phone across the room. Carlos jumped up from where he'd been working on his laptop and held me as I cried again, so tired of crying. "She's scared," Carlos whispered. "She's still living with them, right? She's doing what she needs to survive." He was right, but it still hurt like hell. Emma had been there for everything. Sometimes her abuse was even worse. How could she deny it now? The next day, I decided to try calling her directly instead of texting. To my surprise, she answered. "Lily, you need to drop this," she said right away, her voice low like she was scared someone might overhear. "They're really angry. Dad broke the coffee table yesterday. I've never seen him like this." I took a deep breath. "Emma, they hurt us. They're still hurting you. Look at yourself. When was the last time you ate a full meal or slept through the night?" "I'm fine," she snapped. "I'm beautiful. Everyone says so. You're disappearing. Every time I see you, there's less of you there." She was silent for so long I thought she'd hung up. Then she whispered, "I don't know how to be any other way." "Neither did I told her. "But I'm learning. You can, too." She hung up. I tried calling back, but it went straight to voicemail. I left a message telling her I loved her and that there was a place for her at Carlos's apartment if she ever needed it. The case against my parents moved slowly. Interviews, paperwork, and more interviews. The district attorney charged them with assault and child endangerment based on the recent incident, but proving years of abuse was tough. Danielle explained that without witnesses or documentation, it would be my word against theirs. Carlos encouraged me to start writing everything down, every slap, every scar, every moment I could remember. "Even if it doesn't help the case, it'll help you process it all," he said. So I bought a cheap notebook and began writing. The time my mom slapped me so hard, my nose bled because I played in the sprinklers. The Christmas, my dad gave Emma a gold necklace and me skin-lightening lotion. The mornings spent painfully straightening my hair while being told my natural curls were ugly. Writing it down was like opening a wound. Some nights I could only write a paragraph before tears forced me to stop. Other nights I wrote for hours, the pages wet with sorrow. 3 weeks after Thanksgiving, I got a surprise call from Aunt Rosa, my mom's sister in Miami. We weren't close, but she said, "Lily, I just heard what happened. Your mother called me crying saying, 'You're lying.'" My stomach dropped. Now the family was rallying against me. "It's not lies, Tia," I said. "They've been abusing me and Emma for years." There was a pause. Then she said 2 words that hit me like a truck. "I know." She told me she suspected something all along. The obsession with appearance, how we never played outside like other kids. Once, she'd asked my mom about it and got a defensive response. "I should have done more," she said. Then she dropped a bomb. She found old diaries of my mother's where she wrote about her own mother's obsession with skin bleaching and looking more European. The cycle of abuse had started long before me. Aunt Rosa offered to send me the diaries and testify if needed. She also said I could stay with her in Miami if I needed to get away. I thanked her, but told her I was okay with Carlos for now. The next day at my dermatologist appointment, the doctor was pleased with my healing, but warned of scarring. As we left, I saw Emma, even thinner than before, leaning against her car. She admitted she'd been following Mom's grocery trips to keep tabs on me. "I've been thinking about what you said," she whispered. "I looked in the mirror this morning and didn't recognize myself." I told her, "You can get help. You can get out like I did." She shook her head. "I can't. They're watching me. Dad took my phone. I'm using Mom's while she's out." Carlos offered her a place to stay. Emma looked at him like he was speaking a foreign language. "Why would you do that? You don't even know me." "I'm your sister," he said simply. Just then, her phone buzzed. Mom was done shopping. She had to go, but she handed me a USB drive. "I found this in Dad's office. Financial records. They've been ordering illegal skin bleach for years. Payments, shipping, all of it." I was stunned. Emma said, "That's why I took it." That night, Carlos and I pored over the files. Emma was right. There were years of receipts for banned substances. Mercury, high-concentration hydroquinone, and a steroid called clenbuterol, never meant for long-term facial use. I called Danielle immediately, and she was excited. This evidence could make a huge difference. She asked me to bring the drive to her office the next morning. But I worried, what if my parents followed Emma? What if she changed her mind? Carlos suggested we prepare to clean the apartment and make her favorite quesadillas, hoping to give her comfort. This was only the beginning of our fight for justice, but finally, I felt like I wasn't alone. The next day passed without any sign of Elena. I texted the number she had called but got no response. I paced Carlos's small apartment, my heart pounding, wondering what was happening. Maybe she couldn't get out, or she was too scared. Carlos said softly, "Maybe she's scared. That's normal." We were about to give up and get ready for dinner when there was a soft knock on the door. Carlos opened it, and there was Elena, hunched over, pale-faced with a small backpack in her hand. She looked as fragile as a little bird. "I'm safe," I whispered, though I still felt uneasy. Carlos made Elena's favorite quesadilla, and I helped her settle into the air mattress in the corner of the living room. It was like a luxury hotel to Elena. "I haven't slept for more than 2 hours straight in years," she admitted. "Tonight is different," I replied, no alarm. Dinner was quiet. I noticed she ate only small bites, trying to make it look like she had eaten more. Later, Elena finished showering and put on Carlos's shirt, revealing fresh bruises on her arms. "Dad hit me when he found the USB drive," she said, as calmly as if she were talking about the weather. "I took pictures of the bruises, adding evidence to the case." She apologized for lying to her family about me. I told her not to apologize, and she quickly fell asleep. The next morning, I called Danielle, and she offered to take Elena to the prosecutor's office to make an official statement, since she was safe now. Elena was scared, asking, "What if they don't believe me?" I said, "There are bruises and financial evidence." The interview lasted more than 2 hours. When she emerged, her eyes were red, but she looked relieved. "They believe me," she said. With Elena's testimony and the evidence on the USB, the prosecutor decided to upgrade the charges against our parents: child abuse, endangering the safety of a child, assault, and importing a toxic chemical. We were going to trial, and I was scared but determined. That afternoon, Officer Ramirez called to say my parents were arrested with high bail. I should have been happy, but instead I felt empty. Elena cried, but they were tears of relief. "It's really over," she said. She asked over and over, "They can't take me back, right?" I hugged her tightly. "Yes, it's really over." For the first time, I believed it. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of legal meetings and therapy sessions, all arranged by Danielle to help Elena and me start healing. Carlos's tiny apartment felt even smaller with 3 people crammed inside, but somehow we made it work. Elena took the air mattress in the living room, I claimed the couch, and Carlos stuck to his bed, not once complaining, even when Elena's nightmares woke us all, or when I accidentally used his toothbrush. That little apartment became our refuge. Elena's health was a serious concern. Years of starvation and sleepless nights had taken a harsh toll on her fragile body and mind. We found a specialist for eating disorders who saw her twice a week. I'll never forget the day she ate a full meal without counting calories or obsessing over how it made her skin look. She cried, overwhelmed by the simple act of nourishment. My face continued to heal too. The dermatologist was cautiously optimistic but warned me about sun exposure. Ironic, considering I'd been punished for sunbathing for so long, now medically forbidden to step outside without protection. Our parents were released on bail but with strict orders to stay away. They ignored those orders immediately, bombarding us with emails from new accounts and sending friends to call with threats and pleas. Danielle made sure we documented every piece of evidence piling up to strengthen the case. That first Christmas away from them was bittersweet. Sadness lingered, but freedom felt sweeter. Carlos's family welcomed us warmly, sharing Puerto Rican holiday dishes that reminded me of my late grandmother's cooking. Elena ate more than I'd seen in years. January brought news. The trial was set for March. As the date neared, my anxiety spiraled. Panic attacks hit hard, flashbacks to that terrible Thanksgiving, burning chemicals on my face, leaving me gasping for air. Carlos suggested something different to ease the stress: a painting class at the community center. I was terrible at painting. My trees looked like green blobs and my sunsets resembled spilled orange juice. But for those 2 hours a week, my mind was free from trauma. Elena surprised us all with her talent. Her first landscape had real mountains and sky with depth. Seeing her beam with genuine pride was like watching a new light ignite inside her. That February, Aunt Rosa called with unexpected news. After talking to family, several cousins and another aunt came forward with stories of our parents' cruel obsession with appearances and control. They remembered us flinching when our parents raised their hands, how we avoided short sleeves even in summer. They were willing to testify. It was a turning point. More voices joined ours. Danielle was confident. Though realistic, court battles are unpredictable. Elena's progress was remarkable. She gained weight, her hair regained softness, and though sleep remained a struggle, she replaced alarms with late-night painting sessions, a step toward freedom. 1 week before the trial, Aunt Lucia, our father's sister, showed up unannounced with a proposal. Our parents wanted to plead guilty, pay medical bills, and avoid court if we agreed not to testify. Elena and I hesitated but chose to refuse. We wanted them to face justice fully. The trial was intense. Testifying was harder than I imagined, reliving years of pain, the slaps, the bleaching, the relentless criticism. Our parents' lawyer tried to twist the story, blaming me for jealousy and rebellion. I shut him down, telling the truth. My sister destroyed herself for love I never got. Elena's testimony was heartbreaking and powerful. She described deprivation and control, how she thought abuse was normal until she saw me healing. My mom visibly flinched hearing about her bruise. After 3 exhausting days, the judge found them guilty on all counts, sentencing them to prison, ordering full restitution and mandating counseling and a restraining order. As they were led away, my mom glanced back, a flicker of regret or stubborn pride, I couldn't tell. Outside, reporters waited, but we weren't ready to share our story publicly. That night, pizza and ice cream at Carlos's felt like a feast. Elena is eating freely, and I am embracing my curls and skin tone without shame. Months later, with therapy and new routines, we rebuilt our lives. Aunt Rosa's visits and financial help brought comfort. Elena found confidence working at an art supply store. I focused on my last semester in college. Years later, Elena married, radiant and strong in her natural skin and hair. Carlos and I had a daughter, Rosa, named after Aunt Rosa, who had believed in us first. One day, Mom sent a letter with no excuses, just an apology and a request to meet on our terms. We agreed, cautiously rebuilding a fragile, honest connection, never forcing forgiveness. Our scars remain visible and hidden, but so does our strength. We broke free from a cycle of pain and found a new family built on love, acceptance, and freedom to be ourselves. Thank you so much for watching our story. If you found hope, strength, or inspiration in Lily and Elena's journey, please hit that like button and consider subscribing to our channel for more real stories about resilience, healing, and family. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you or someone you know ever faced something similar? Drop a comment below and share your story or words of encouragement. Your voice matters, and together, we can build a community of support and understanding. Remember, no matter how dark the past, there's always a way forward. And you're never alone. See you in the next video.